Good evening, family, and welcome to Dwell According to Knowledge, the talk show. I am your host and your coach, Trey. And this is your relationship tip for the day. And we've all been through this, and we've all seen it. Maybe you've been this at one point in time in your life. This goes for ladies and men. How to spot a desperate man. Get me? Or 7 signs of a desperate man. Okay. A lot of times we can look at people and sometimes we can't see everything. And there's a whole bunch of signs to a desperate any person. But I'm just going to give you 7 quick ones because this is a relationship tip. You know what I mean? All right, let's get to it. Number 1, dropping your standards. And I'm gonna read from my notes, and then we'll talk. Desperate men are prepared to drop their dating standards to fill the huge emotional void in their life. Okay, whether they want children or intimacy, the desperate man will date who they have to avoid being alone. They will be with many and any woman just for the sake of being attached, while failing to realize that it's better to be single and wait for the girl who is their type. So you'll see that the desperate man, when we talk about lowering standards, it could be anything that they would lower their standards to, especially when you hear them talking about, how they view themselves in the beginning. And a lot of times, you can't live up to that because a lot of people set their stuff up really, really high. Okay, so be careful of the guy who places himself on a high pedestal but will come low in order to date you. All right. Number 2, constantly fishing for compliments. Okay, the desperate man has low self-esteem, a poor self-image, and needs to constantly hear how great he is and be assured of things. Whenever you have to continue to repeat yourself on certain things, like how he looks, how he dresses, what he drives, those kind of things. Sometimes you have to look at those things and say, is he compensating for something else, like low self-esteem? Okay. Number 3, overcalling, email, texting you. Okay. Now, if you want to run a woman off quickly, one of the best ways to do it is to overly call, email, text, and messages early in a relationship, especially when she hasn't returned any of your messages. The desperate man makes the fatal mistake of calling the woman he's dating and asking, "Did you just call me?" after receiving a call from an unrecognized number. So be very, very careful of the too many calls during the day, texts or emails or any of those other kind of things. They can be just one or all 3. Okay. Now, number 4, moving too fast in a relationship. Next thing you know, he's calling you all kind of names. More pet names, okay? The desperate man will spend every single day with a new girl for weeks and never know basic information about her that normally should have been covered in the first few dates. Although finding love is based on each individual relationship, and some people move quicker than others, but the desperate man will move so quickly with things like intimacy and sex that he will turn you off with his frantic desire to be in a relationship with you. So of course, we're talking about how fast he's trying to get into the panties, how fast he wants to talk about, the sex and things of that nature. Okay. Hi. Number 5, constantly buying you gifts. Okay. The desperate man constantly showers his woman with gifts without realizing that eventually you will become less thrilled and even annoyed receiving them. Even though the thought is nice, after a while the concept will begin to lose its meaning, and she is going to get tired of always getting something. Now, I don't know about this one. It was just something that I thought about. But at some point, I know you guys like gifts, but we're talking about constantly and overtly. Okay, so watch out for this guy, because he spends very fast, and a lot of times he spends very expensively. So watch out for that one. Okay. Now, number 6, you're in constant agreement with everything she says. He is constantly in agreement with everything you say. Watch out for this guy, because desperate men just sit there and agree with everything a woman says, thinking that's what she wants to, that's what you want. Okay? In reality, women want someone who's going to stimulate their minds and not turned on by men that they can completely control and has no backbone. Y'all know what y'all like and y'all know what y'all dislike, but the bottom line is this: you don't want a man that you can control, that doesn't have his own mind, don't have his own thoughts. Okay? All right. Number 7, last but not least, being overly nice all the time. Now, if a guy is too nice, too accommodating, and tries to be the most giving person to you, you will begin to think he's being insincere and will lose romantic interest quickly. You also think that he's only trying to achieve one thing, that is to get into your pants, and I can't agree with that more. So be careful of this guy, because they think, the way to a woman's heart ain't necessarily always being nice. I hope you all got something from that. Listen, I'm your host and your coach, Trey, author of Dwell According to Knowledge, How to Find and Date Your Mate. It's on Amazon, along with the other 2 that I have. And I'll see you in the next video. God bless.